Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use, tips a balance in favor of fair use. This is from citylimits.org. Questionable claims by anti-drug program, dated June 25th, 2014, by Robert Martin Wolf. The local chapter of Drug Free World is operated out of Scientology headquarters, but the program's literature makes no mention of the church or its founder, L. Ron Hubbard's controversial theories about drugs and addiction. Yeah, and by the way, LRH was a drug addict, so, you know. By its own estimate, Foundation for a Drug-Free World, an education nonprofit, has visited, there's the tax exemption, of course, at least 20% of New York City's schools, public and private. That's over 14,000 children. It says mainly in disadvantaged schools in outer boroughs. Drug Free World has won accolades from the City Council. City Council. And the State Senate. State Senate. And been featured by over a dozen local publications, including the Daily News. So what? But in two recent presentations witnessed by a City Limits reporter, so this is back when, I think we were still doing some reporting back in 2014. There's nothing now. The organization, which is connected to the Church of Scientology, presented information on the dangers of drug abuse that had little basis in fact and could be traced to the works of Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard. You know, convicted felon, convicted of fraud, drug addict, black tooth, pot-bellied, believed kissing a 7-year-old girl passionately on the lips is permissible. In a section of its website titled, How We Help. They're always doing the same thing, aren't they? The Church of Scientology lays claim to Drug-Free World and a slew of other nonprofits, including Narconon, a faith-based drug rehabilitation program where they check in and they never check out. Though Drug Free World is a secular program, chapters in California and Pennsylvania have directed addicts to Narconon, a lot of them underage too, by the way, whose rehab procedures are discredited by medical science. Facts. There's no evidence that's been done by New York chapter of Drug Free World, founded 8 years ago. Isn't that a shame? By Megan Fialkoff. Sounds like Scandinavian, doesn't it? Because, you got to get everyone from other countries. A Scientologist from Bayside, Queens. Never mind. After completing her undergraduate degree in public relations at the University of Maryland. With Fialkoff at the lead, Drug Free World has visited daycares, YMCAs, NYPD youth programs. They do the same thing in the LAPD, you see? It's how they convince the cops they're good people. Homeless shelters, community fairs, and churches. The group posts the thank you notes it receives from administrators on its website, dating from early 2012 onward. There are hundreds. Claims about flashbacks. Fialkoff, who denies the program's links to Scientology, what is it called, a short story, which is otherwise known as a lie, declined to allow a reporter to attend a Drug Free World presentation she's so scared of. But during an interview, the group's photographer extended an invitation to a presentation at Little Flower, a Catholic after-school program. Catholic after-school program. Blatantly going for the kids, you guys. For troubled teenagers in Queens. Because, you know, the more vulnerable, the better, right? There in the vaulted stone rectory, Drug-Free World's presenter, David Tidman, battled the Friday afternoon doldrums. You know mushrooms? They're a funny brand of plant. Some mushrooms are good in salad, like portobello. Some mushrooms will give you hallucinations for hours. Some mushrooms will kill you in 2 hours flat, just like that. Shrooms, the girl echoed dreamily. They take they damn selves, another girl added, expressing her approval of the popular psychedelic. Both girls giggled. Tidman is Drug-Free World's lead presenter in New York City. He took a fatherly tone with the teens. Isn't this great, you guys? While explaining how all drugs, not just LSD, can cause flashbacks. Tidman, you know what else causes flashbacks? Making children scrub dumpsters with toothbrushes. Putting 3-year-olds in ethics handlings gives them flashbacks as well. A certain amount of that drug or medicine stays in your body for weeks. Hubbard would know. Months, even years, and later, on what happens is it can dislodge from the fat tissue and reactivate in your body, he said. At odds with science, the concept of the human body storing lipid-soluble drugs for years comes from Clear Body, Clear Mind, a self-help book compiled from materials written by L. Ron Hubbard. Can you imagine the drug addict writing this? Unreal. It's unreal, you guys. It really is unreal. Founder and convicted felon of the Church of Scientology, the book outlines a detoxification regimen used by a number of Scientology-funded groups, including Narconon. It's also known to cause, in many people that are trying to get off of drugs, a psychosis, because you need medical detoxification. Drug-Free World's materials make no mention of the flashback theory, or any Scientology for that matter, but Tidman used it in both presentations City Limits witnessed. Seems like City Limits was actually doing real reporting. Dr. Amir Gharakani, a psychopharmacology specialist at Mount Sinai Hospital, called Tidman's theory an overgeneralization, while LSD is linked to flashbacks. Other drugs aren't. There's no pharmacological basis for that. It's not accurate, he said. There you go, another MD telling us. While Drug-Free World has multiple presenters, Tidman is its main man in New York City. If anybody would mind, maybe they could do some research on that guy. I would appreciate it. He estimates he presented to 15,000 children last year, so many that he's forced to recycle near verbatim his jokes, analogies, and anecdotes. Take, for example, the evening of December 13th, when Tidman visited the Parent-Teacher Association at Herbert Lehman High School in the Bronx. Mind you, guys, a lot of these people think they're doing good, so. Some mushrooms are good in salad, Tidman said. Others will make you sick and give you hallucinations for hours. Some will kill you in a matter of hours. And again, the fatty tissue theory. Ever notice how, in the hottest part of summertime, how people drive on the Brooklyn's Queens Expressway, the BQE, or the Bruckner? Drug flashbacks were responsible, he said. Oh boy. The parents were boisterous and responsive. They laughed at his jokes. It's the point, you guys. They're trying to get to the kids. Afterward, Tidman said he thought it went well, but Rosaline Torruella, the parent-teacher coordinator, disagreed. Boss. Whether Tidman knew it or not, he had been auditioning to the parents. Torruella said she decided there were too many inaccuracies for another invitation to be extended. Boss. Links to the church. Tidman, a member of the Church of Scientology cult, is not paid for his presentations. None of them are. He says he makes a living working for a dentist office. Of course he does. The dentist is Bernard Fialkoff, Megan Fialkoff's father, a high-ranking Scientologist, prestigious executive, who funds Drug-Free World, both out of pocket and through his study club of local doctors. Fialkoff acknowledges that the New York City chapter of Drug-Free World is run by Scientologists out of church headquarters in Times Square, yet denies that Drug-Free World is a Scientology program. There's a lot of sponsors for the program. One of them happens to be Church of Scientology. They just lie, she said. And if Tidman had deviated from the carefully secularized materials, that could be corrected, she added. Through Bernard Fialkoff's Dental Study Club, Drug-Free World has solicited awards from State Senator Jose Peralta, as well as former Councilman Dan Halloran, fair game. What do they call that? Safe pointing. Who is now under indictment for corruption. Both issued proclamations honoring the organization. Cha-ching! Neither official responded to requests for comment. Of course they didn't. They always do the same thing. Scientology does the same thing. How effective? In at least one respect, Drug-Free World's presentations resemble a visit from DARE or many other anti-drug organizations. After the kids file out of the room, it's hard to tell whether the message stuck. On the way out of Little Flower, Tidman recognized the difficulty in changing at-risk children's behavior over sporadic hour-long visits. And not to mention, it's the trauma. Ding dong. Once you're gone, many of the students don't even know you were there, he said. Tidman said he wishes he could spend more time with smaller groups of children, but the organization is always pushing for more presentations in new places. They're trying to recruit you guys. They're looking for Sea Org members. Still doing it. But most schools seem happy with what they get. In March 2014, Ledye Avia of Sunnyside Community Services in Queens wrote to the group, "As a director, I strive to be able to provide an excellent program for my children that will be well-rounded for their needs. However, due to budget constraints, as you can imagine, it is often difficult to achieve this without sacrificing something. Having organizations and individuals like you and the flexibility to accommodate so many of my children was really appreciated." See, they're always nice up until you start confronting them about the bad things that Scientology is doing. When asked how he could measure the effectiveness of his program, Tidman doesn't have a ready answer. There's a follow-up mechanism called drug-free marshals, where at the end of a presentation, children, without providing contact information, signed a pledge that promised they would avoid drugs, encourage their friends to do the same, and seek more information on the website. Fialkoff says she removed that element because it had a religious aspect that didn't belong in her secular program, but it is still sometimes used. At Lehman High School, the parents and a few kids signed, though at Little Flower, the form stayed in the box. The foundation has responded to this article. Read their response here. So I will leave a link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Peace.